Good evening, America. I'm Angie Ress, and welcome to N3 Prime Time. Do we have a jam-packed show for you tonight? First up, Vladimir Putin weighs in on America's political chaos. Is our internal strife weakening us on the world stage? Gary Franchi will break it all down. Also, the House GOP is gearing up for impeachment proceedings against President Biden. Is it justice or just political theater? You won't want to miss this. And cyber attacks hit the Vegas Strip. Is America ready for the digital threats of the future? Plus, a man in Florida goes berserk with an excavator, crashing it into a Walmart. What on earth is happening? And finally, could your iPhone be putting your health at risk? French regulators raise the alarm bells. But that's not all. Later in the show, we'll dive into the comments section, reading your thoughts on these burning issues. And don't miss our Looking at You segment, spotlighting someone stirring the pot that you absolutely need to know about. Hold on to your seats, America. Now over to Gary.
Good evening and welcome to N3 Primetime. We're here to serve you the news that cuts through the noise. And tonight's stories are not just headlines, they're snapshots of America's condition and its place in the world. When Vladimir Putin criticizes our republic, he's not just playing politics. He's poking holes in the fabric of what makes America, America. Meanwhile, in Washington, the political machinery grinds on. We're in the midst of yet another impeachment proceeding, this time against President Biden. It's like a never-ending circus, one that undermines trust at every turn. And over in the tech world, cybersecurity threats loom large, exposing our vulnerabilities. And not to be outdone, a man commandeers an excavator and wreaks havoc in Florida, while French regulators raise red flags about our favorite tech gadgets. These stories hold a mirror to our nation's values, safety, and integrity. And speaking of integrity, let's talk about something that you should really be considering: the value of your money. Picture the American dollar as a dam holding back the waters of inflation. And since the 1970s, that dam has eroded, losing 85% of its strength. With upcoming elections and political unpredictability, the government has the power to print money like it's going out of style, putting even more pressure on that crumbling infrastructure. Now, what can withstand that pressure? Well, gold, my friends. Just like it withstands inflation, invest in your future with Noble Gold Investments, and they'll even send you one of these. It's a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. It's absolutely beautiful. Now visit nextnewsgold.com or dial 877-646-5347. And even if you're not investing, go ahead and give them a call and tell them thank you for sponsoring this program. Don't let your savings get washed away. Back to you, Angie. What stories are you keeping an eye on for us in tonight's episode?
First up, Bidenomics. President Biden says it's a blueprint for success, but the Census Bureau says otherwise. With household incomes falling, who's really winning under this administration? We're breaking down the numbers that the White House doesn't want you to see. Next, McDonald's is revoking your soda freedom. That's right. Forget mixing Sprite and Coke at the fountain. Are we saying goodbye to customer choice for the sake of corporate profits? Also, Philadelphia is in the grips of a trank drug crisis, and the city seems helpless to stop it. What's going on, Philly? Time to wake up. On the border, Republicans are pushing a robust new bill, but Democrats are saying no. Why? We'll dig deep. And finally, Mike Pompeo is sounding the alarm on Biden's soft stance on China. America, it's time to take action. These stories matter because they're about the choices we're making as a nation, choices that affect our wallets, our freedoms, and our safety. Back to you, Gary, for our first special report of the night.
Good evening, America. Tonight we venture beyond our borders, deep into the heart of Russia's Pacific coast city of Vladivostok, where a story is unfolding that might reshape the very core of how the world views our great nation. When Russian President Vladimir Putin speaks on the tumult of U.S. politics, it's not just another international critique. It's a potent challenge to the fiber of our republic. As we dissect Putin's startling comments and the relentless pursuit of former President Trump, I ask you, is our national integrity on trial? And if our political house is seemingly divided at home, what's the image we're beaming out to the world? Stay with us. By the end, in our final thought, we'll confront a daunting question. Is this just another political spat, or are we standing at the precipice of a new era? America, as we often reflect on the intricacies of our domestic political landscape, it's times like these that we're reminded that the world is watching and interpreting our every move. Take, for instance, the theater surrounding former President Trump. Not only is the saga making headlines here at home, but it's now a focal point for foreign leaders to evaluate, in some cases, ridicule. In Vladivostok, President Putin didn't hold back. He offered his candid thoughts on the current state of the United States politics, and if we're to be honest, it was a jarring critique. Watch.
Because it exposes all the rot of the American political system, which cannot claim to teach others about democracy. Everything that's happening to Trump is persecution for the political motives of his politics. It's competition, that's what it is. And it's happening in front of the eyes of the US public and the whole world. They've simply exposed their internal problems. In that sense, if they're trying to compete with us in some way, that's fine, because it shows who is fighting against us. It shows how, even back in the Soviet times, they were saying it means the beastly face of American imperialism, beastly snarl.
The beastly snarl. Here, Putin argues that the political upheaval concerning Trump is symptomatic of the rottenness of our democratic fabric. The notion that a foreign power is spotlighting the internal fissures of our great republic is deeply unsettling, but it doesn't stop there. You may recall a claim made by Trump during a campaign trail interview where he confidently asserted that he would diplomatically resolve the Ukraine crisis within a single day upon re-entering the White House. Think, that declaration went unnoticed by the international community? Think again. Watch.
Said I would fix that within 24 hours. And if I win, before I get into the office, I will have that war settled. 100% sure. Mm-hmm. And everything I said.
Now, following this, Putin's response was quite unexpected. He expressed a certain satisfaction, noting, quote, "Hearing Mr. Trump proclaim he'd immediately address the Ukraine situation is something I'd view as positive. The implications here are vast. How does the world, particularly Russia, perceive our domestic statements? Moreover, as our political divide seems to widen, are we inadvertently casting a shadow of doubt over our nation's image globally? America, if we're talking about purifying systems and seeking transparency, you should know about something extraordinary. Feel like our nation's political health has become sluggish? Well, your own health doesn't have to be. Introducing Pure Body Extra, a unique formulation designed to detoxify your body. This isn't about mysterious potions, it's about clear science, and the key, a mineral known as zeolite, clinically verified to detoxify at a cellular level. And right now, exclusively for our viewers, Touchstone Essentials offers this transformational spray for just $5. Stocks, limited, your health, priceless. Act swiftly, America. Visit detoxwithgary.com because of our cleansing system. Why not start with our own? Now back to Putin. In the very same talk, the Russian president didn't hold back. He used some, let's say, vivid language to debunk the narrative that Trump had a peculiar bond with Russia. He pointed out the irony, remarking that Trump had levied the harshest sanctions on Russia during his tenure. And when he discusses the future, Putin's skepticism is palpable. Even if Trump were to take office again, he doesn't anticipate a significant change in U.S.-Russia relations. Furthermore, Putin raises an alarming point about the West using the global economy as a tool not for global prosperity, but for coercion, blackmail, and retribution. The West's approach, according to Putin, caters to a select few, leaving the larger humanity out in the cold. So, America, let's ponder on this. The leader of Russia, in an international forum, has painted the United States as a nation torn from the inside, its principles seemingly faltering. When our own political system is presented as a model of rottenness, we must ask ourselves, is this just international politics as usual, or is this a wake-up call? The saga of Trump's persecution has shed light on a disturbing narrative. It's not just about one man or a party. It's about the integrity and credibility of our institutions. It's about how the world perceives us. It's about the beacon of democracy, the United States, potentially being overshadowed by internal conflicts and vendettas. It's undeniable that the relentless pursuit of Trump has implications not just domestically, but on the world stage. So as we witness these unfolding events, we must ask, what image of America are we projecting to the world? And more crucially, at what cost? As the dust settles on today's revelations from Vladivostok, we're forced to confront a mirror held up to America by an unlikely source, Vladimir Putin. When the very foundations of our republic are questioned by international leaders, it isn't merely a fleeting concern. It's a call to introspection. We're delved into the ever-tumultuous saga of Trump, viewed through a lens of a foreign observer. Now more than ever, we must recognize the power of perception. If the global community perceives our pursuit of Trump as just political theater, we must ask, at what cost to our ethos? America, as we sign off on this special report, let's commit to more than just partisan debates. Let's ensure our nation is hailed as the beacon of democracy. It never wavers in its mission or its image. For in unity and integrity, America's true strength lies. Now, Angie has some surprising news on household incomes despite recent claims of an economic boost. Angie.
Don't let the rose-colored glasses fool you. President Joe Biden wants you to believe his Bidenomics, calling it blue-collar blueprint for America. But the U.S. Census Bureau just served up a dose of cold, hard reality. In 2022, the average American household income dropped for the third year straight, down 2.3% from 2021. High food and transportation costs are tightening the squeeze on your wallet. Inflation still soaring at 7.8%, the biggest jump since 1981. And let's not forget, it's the younger Americans who are getting hit the hardest, not those 65 and older. So when Biden touts the strongest economy in the world, just know 60% of Americans aren't buying it. They're skeptical of how he's managing this economy and especially critical of his handling of inflation. Bottom line, the numbers speak louder than political spin. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Gary, what's the latest on the turmoil gripping Washington over impeachment?
And now a special report that's about to send shockwaves through our great nation. When Washington, D.C. gets riled up, it's not just a political showdown. It's a tempest that affects every American at home and every future. Impeachment, fiery confrontations, political theater at its finest. Tonight, we delve into the dramatic escalation in our nation's capital with reactions that range from outright bizarre to the deeply impassioned. You might think you know the full story, but trust me, there's always more than meets the eye. And at the end of tonight's report, our final thought promises to be an eye-opener you don't want to miss. So settle in and prepare to have your perspective radically shifted. Now, all hell is breaking loose in Washington, D.C., a city that seems to thrive on chaos, political maneuvers, and power plays. And this week, it's ratcheted up to a level we haven't seen in years. So let's dive deep into the heart of the storm. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy made a monumental announcement on Tuesday, the commencement of impeachment proceedings against President Joe Biden. Why? The potential involvement of President Biden in his son Hunter Biden's business dealings. We will go to wherever the evidence takes us. That's what he stated. So if you're expecting Democrats to take this lightly, think again. First on our radar is Pennsylvania's former lieutenant governor, now Senator John Fetterman. His reaction, well, it was more of a performance than a political statement, so let's set the stage. Reporters cornered Fetterman and questioned him about the impeachment inquiry. Here's his bizarre response.
Ask you about this news that Speaker McCarthy has formally launched an impeachment or has said he's going to.
Oh my God, really? Oh my gosh, it's devastating. Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it. Oh no.
Sorry, we gotta run back to the office, but
Unreal. A flailing Fetterman and dripping with sarcasm exclaimed, "My God, really? Oh my gosh, devastating. Don't do it." One can argue it was a mockery of the serious implications surrounding the impeachment inquiry. Now, America, imagine for a moment if this were the other way around. A Republican reacting to the impeachment of a fellow party member in such a manner. The outrage from the mainstream media would be absolutely relentless. Double standards? You decide. And then we have the White House response. Ian Sams, the White House spokesman for oversight and investigations, was swift with his reaction. His post on X, formerly Twitter, screams of a defensive position. Extreme politics at its worst, that's what he said about the move. According to Sams, House Republicans have been at this investigation for 9 months, finding no evidence of wrongdoing. He claims McCarthy had vowed to hold a vote before the impeachment, but reneged because he lacked support. And then Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer couldn't help but throw his own weight into the ring. And speaking about the impeachment inquiry, he labeled the move as absurd. Even more ironic, Schumer uses the term witch hunt, a term that we've all heard echoed many times during former President Donald Trump's own impeachment proceedings and now all these investigations. Here's Schumer.
I think the impeachment inquiry is absurd. The American people want us to do something that will make their lives better, not go off on these chases and witch hunts. The bottom line is, as we've said, you can only accomplish keeping the government open in a bipartisan way. I have sympathy with Speaker McCarthy. He's in a difficult position. But sometimes you got to tell these people who are way off the deep end, who have no interest in helping the American people, who just want to pursue their own witch hunts, that they can't go forward with it. So I'm disappointed. I think it's absurd. But we are not going to let it stop us here in the Senate from keeping the government open and working in a bipartisan way.
Schumer was on a roll. He went on to say, I think the impeachment inquiry is absurd. The American people want us to do something that will make their lives better, not go off on these chases and witch hunts. You want to make our lives better? How about you just stay home and do nothing? You know, it's really hard to miss the irony in Schumer's words. But wait, there's more. He did extend his sympathy to Speaker McCarthy for being in a difficult position. The political theater in D.C. is truly in full swing. Now, I'll take a brief moment to discuss something that's closely related to our current state of affairs. It's about the security of your financial future. You see, much like the recent chaos in Washington, our currency has been going through its upheavals. Since the 70s, U.S. dollars lost a significant chunk of its value. When instability and uncertainty rule, it's essential to have a solid foundation. Gold has historically been that steadfast rock against inflation. And just like you shouldn't ignore the tumultuous happenings in D.C., you shouldn't overlook a chance to protect your assets with Noble Gold Investments. Secure your wealth with gold and even get a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Yes, just visit Noble Gold Investments, the website nextnewsgold.com, and, you know, your future might just thank you for it. Now back to the inferno in the Capitol. As the Democrats react, Republicans are not without their own fire. Enter Representative Scott Perry. When questioned about the evidence supporting impeachment, Perry didn't mince any words. Watch this.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I just ask, what actual evidence do you have as opposed to allegations to show to the American public that would merit an actual impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden and prove that today isn't just about some of you?
Oh, I don't know.
McCarthy for the sake of enacting political revenge.
This isn't about political revenge. We have the bank accounts. We can see, ma'am, you can see that the homes that the Bidens own can't be afforded on a congressional or Senate salary. You also understand that it's not normal for family members to receive millions of dollars from overseas interests. Those things aren't normal. That's not normal to have 20 shell companies. These things are not normal, and it alludes to not only just widespread corruption, but money laundering, if not influence peddling itself. And we also have the president, the vice president at the time, on record saying that the prosecutor was fired. Well, son of a bitch, the prosecutor was fired, right? Because the prosecutor was going after the company that his son was working on. That's what we have. If you can't see that, if you are that blind, look, I'll turn it over to the attorneys.
People can't see that. They think it's political revenge.
It's because you don't report on it.
You're not, We're here reporting on it today.
I'm not sure how you know what the American people think, but here's what they might wonder.
Amidst the fiery reaction and impassioned calls for impeachment, there emerges a lone voice of dissent from an unexpected corner, the GOP itself. U.S. Representative Ken Buck of Colorado breaks ranks, standing firmly in defense of President Biden. Buck, not typically seen as a staunch ally of the Biden administration, openly challenges the narrative set forth by many within his own party. He insists on the basic principle that any call for impeachment should be based on solid evidence. Before we discuss further, let's hear the congressman's own words. Watch.
The time for impeachment is the time when there's evidence linking President Biden, if there's evidence linking President Biden to a high crime or misdemeanor. That doesn't exist right now, and it isn't really something that we can say, well, in February we're going to do this. It's based on the facts. You go where the facts take you.
Amid the turmoil, Perry's fervent stance was notably prominent. He emphatically pointed to bank records and alluded to homes owned by the Bidens that seemed beyond the scope of a congressional or Senate paycheck. Perry also underscored the anomaly of family members amassing significant foreign funds, in sharp contrast to Buck's more reserved doubts about the impeachment mirror. Fetterman's sarcasm bringing a nuanced interplay of reactions from within the GOP itself. Now, Perry's fiery assertions not only stand in opposition to Fetterman's derision, but also starkly contrast Buck's call for irrefutable evidence before pursuing impeachment. And Speaker Kevin McCarthy's announcement, however, was the starting point of it all. With a calm but stern demeanor, McCarthy stated the House Republicans had uncovered serious and credible allegations into President Biden's conduct, He alluded to a culture of corruption surrounding the Biden family, particularly the business endeavors of Biden's son, Hunter. McCarthy's decisive action to direct the House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden sends a clear message to the American people. They deserve to know the truth. This isn't a game of political ping-pong, but a pursuit of truth for the American public. In D.C., the winds of political change blow hot and cold. It remains to be seen how this tornado of events will ultimately play out. But for now, America, keep your eyes open and ears sharp. When Washington is on fire, it's the nation that feels the heat. So America, as the dust settles on this whirlwind week so far in Washington, one thing remains clear. Our nation stands at a pivotal crossroads. The drama, the firefights, the political acrobatics, it's not just a spectacle, but a reflection of the deep divides and challenges we face. The quest for truth and the demand for accountability are principles upon which our great nation was founded. And tonight's revelations serve as a sobering reminder that the heart of our republic beats fiercely, even in the midst of chaos. But remember, in every storm, there's an opportunity, a chance for us, the American people, to rise, seek clarity, and demand integrity from those we entrust with our nation's future. When all hell breaks loose in D.C., it's our duty to ensure that the flames of truth, justice, and unity burn brighter than ever.
Hold on to your Big Macs, America. McDonald's is taking away your freedom to fizz. You heard that right. The fast food giant is putting the brakes on self-serve soda fountains. Forget the joy of mixing Sprite with Coke, because now you'll have to ask an employee for that refill. And why? McDonald's says it's about theft and a consistent experience. This is a slap in the face to customer choice and convenience. But it doesn't stop there. They're introducing crew pour systems, automated drink dispensers, goodbye friendly service, hello robot overlords, long lines at the counter for a refill? You betcha. This is not about your experience. It's about them cutting costs and controlling theft. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Unprecedented digital chaos in Vegas impacting the nation. Gary, what can you tell us?
Startling news out of Sin City. The lights there have faced an unprecedented shadow, a massive cyber attack that's crippled MGM properties nationwide. Imagine, in this era of digital keys and online transactions, being unable to enter your hotel room, use the casino ATM, or even charge a meal to your account. Now imagine this chaos not just in Los Angeles, but on a national or even global scale. This isn't some dystopian fiction. Today, we've seen a glimpse of it, and this is a wake-up call. If you think this is alarming, wait until we delve into the potential dangers our financial systems might face with the future of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. And stay with us to the end. Our final thought will be something you don't want to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital realm is one of marvels, but as if we've just seen with Las Vegas, it's also a landmine of vulnerabilities. The bright lights of the Strip were dimmed not by a power outage or a natural disaster, but by a cyber attack. The lifelines of the MGM resorts, their websites, their keyless entry systems, their financial instruments, all came to a screeching halt. And tonight, I want you to realize the gravity of this whole situation. Watch.
All MGM properties in Las Vegas and countrywide are currently under a cyber attack. This is causing massive system failures this morning in Las Vegas. Websites are down. People are not able to get into their hotel room as the mobile keys are locked out. Slot machines, ATMs, and a large portion of financial transactions are disabled at Aria, and it is currently spreading to other properties. According to insiders, this began early in the day yesterday, and while steps were taken to keep the situation under control, it is continuing to get aggressively worse. MGM has released a statement saying they are aware of the issue and are working on it. It is estimated that information relating to millions of guests may have been breached. While all of the websites are down, they are directing people who are directly impacted to call. But the fact is, right now, nothing can be done. Employees are sitting with their hands tied. As the situation develops, I'll put more information in the comments. Let me know if this has impacted you.
Now, as you see the corridors of MGM usually bustling with life, eerily silent, slot machines, a symbol of Vegas allure, stand still. Guests, often intoxicated by the city's glitz, are now bogged down by digital immobility. But let's take a step back. This is not just the story of a city. This is a forewarning, a crystal ball into what might be our collective future if we plunge headlong into a digital currency system without adequate safeguards. Now, CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies, they promise efficiency, modernity, even transparency. But here's the kicker, they also promise vulnerability, as Las Vegas has so painfully discovered. If MGM's robust systems can be infiltrated, what stops our entire nation's financial backbone from experiencing the same fate if we switch to CBDCs? Now you might say this is fear-mongering, or government banks will protect us. But will they? The MGM resorts are a multi-billion-dollar enterprise with purported state-of-the-art digital infrastructure, yet they found themselves at the mercy of hackers. Just imagine, if that was our national digital currency platform. Your life savings, your kids' college funds, your retirement, all potentially gone in a blink. It's an apocalypse, not of zombies or aliens, but of codes and algorithms. As our world becomes more digital and our lifestyles sedentary, our health often takes a back seat. And just as we safeguard our digital assets, we should protect our health. And that's why I recommend this all-natural supplement. Much like an antivirus for our bodies, its core ingredient, CLA, works to reduce fat storage, helping you to stay fit in a world of convenience. Right now, they're offering 51% off, so go to trimwithgary.com to find that link in the description below. And just as we need digital solutions, we need health ones too. Now I want you to witness the haunting aftermath of a digital catastrophe. The casino's energetic ambiance, once driven by the sounds of fortune, now reverberates with chaotic glitches of machines. The scene underscores the stark reality of our tech-dependent era. Watch.
So not only are the ATMs broken since yesterday at Aria, look at this. All the slot machines, guys. All the slot machines are down. Believe it? There's a few that are still operating, but I think you can't cash out. Anyways, probably Aria got hacked. Look at this. Crazy. All right, time for some blackjack.
Look at that. Unbelievable. I wonder how much money they lost with all those machines down. So there you saw a man wandering through a casino, lost amidst the chaotic symphony of malfunctioning machines. What was once a vibrant atmosphere of revelry and chance is now marred by the eerie glitches of slot machines, the whirs and bells replaced by digital screams of distress. This isn't just about a loss of monetary transactions. This ripple effect exposes vulnerabilities far beyond. Think of an overly taxed energy grid. Envision thousands of electric vehicles on a standstill. Every touch point in our interconnected world can become a choke point, a weakness in our national system if left unprotected. Las Vegas ordeal throws light on a looming question. How do we plan to secure our CBDCs? Because let me tell you, it's not just about bits and bytes, it's about sovereignty. It's about ensuring our enemies don't have the digital keys to our economy. There's also the question of power. As we increasingly move towards electric vehicles and a potential digital currency system, we're putting strain on our national grid, immense strain. Now imagine if hackers, internal saboteurs, or even foreign enemies decide to attack our grid systems. MGM's situation might just look like child's play in comparison. Now, of course, it's easy to tout the benefits of a technologically advanced society, but as we've seen with MGM, even the titans can fall. And when they do, they risk dragging down the very fabric of our society. The path forward isn't about rejecting technology or innovation, but about temperance, prudence, and ensuring that as we charge into the future, we're not leaving the doors wide open for those who wish us harm. In MGM's woes, there is a lesson, a message that goes beyond just one company's misfortune. It's a clarion call urging us to think, prepare, and to be secure. Because if our defenses don't hold up, it won't just be Vegas going dark. In an age where we are more interconnected than ever, it's also evident that our interdependence comes at a price. The events unfolding in Las Vegas are not just a singular city's problem. It's a glaring indicator of the looming challenges we face as a nation. The essence of America is resilience, adaptability, and innovation. But these attributes shouldn't bind us to the very real vulnerabilities in our systems. As we stand on the cusp of an era dominated by digital currencies and rapid technological advancements, it's imperative that we don't rush blindly forward. We must pause, reassess, and ensure that our foundation is robust and secure. What happened at MGM isn't just a story about a casino in distress, it's a harbinger of what could be. Let's ensure it remains a cautionary tale, not a forecast of our future. Up next, Angie gives us a disturbing look into the trank epidemic crippling Philadelphia. Angie?
Philadelphia, once a city of liberty, now trapped in a shocking trank drug crisis. Disturbing footage from Kensington reveals a living nightmare. People stumbling, collapsing, lost in the haze of this potent animal sedative. This isn't for animals. This is a crisis for humans. A Democratic-run Philadelphia seems completely unprepared to tackle this. Businesses are resorting to sprinklers to fend off addicts. That's how bad it's gotten. Meanwhile, the White House labels trank as an emerging threat. But where's the action? City officials admit they're overwhelmed. It's a public health crisis spiraling out of control, and yet the city's opioid response unit seems to be chasing its tail. The harsh reality? This isn't just about drugs. It's about a failing system. Time to step up, Philly. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. Shoppers at Walmart are in for quite a surprise at checkout. Gary, what's turning heads?
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever found yourself yearning for a bit of excitement during your mundane Walmart trips? A quick in-and-out grocery run turned into a headline-making spectacle in Florida when a certain someone decided to change the shopping experience forever. No, it's not Black Friday madness or a celebrity appearance. It's something way more Florida. A heavy excavator, a machete, and the most unexpected shopping trip. Stay with us for the full scoop, and whatever you do, don't skip out on our final thought. It's a perspective you don't want to miss. America, sometimes reality does outdo fiction. And Florida, well, it often stands at the forefront of these absurd realities. Picture this, you're at Walmart, perhaps pondering which cereal to buy, and suddenly there's a thunderous noise. No, it's not thunder. It's not a truck. It's a joyriding, trouble-seeking Florida man crashing straight into the building with a massive yellow Komatsu excavator. No, this isn't the plot of an over-the-top Hollywood comedy. It actually happened right here on American soil. Watch.
A few would describe a Walmart center as just a hole in the wall, but that's what they're dealing with at Butler North. Gainesville police officers arrested a man after they say he drove an excavator into the store wall. Look at this picture. Officers say the suspect stole the excavator and crashed into the Walmart at Butler Plaza, as well as a storage unit on Southwest 40th Boulevard, knocking out power poles along the way. No one was injured in the crash.
Unbelievable. So you saw that, right? Jesse Smith of Trenton taking the term drive-through to a whole new level. He didn't just stop at creating chaos with that borrowed, really stolen excavator. After demolishing a chunk of the city, he headed straight for the local Walmart. Maybe he was out of cereal too. Now, Mr. Smith, ladies and gentlemen, he apparently thought it was a good idea to not only hijack an excavator worth a whopping $350,000, but also take it for a little spin in the neighborhood. Not content with just any spin, he hotwired the beast and proceeded to inflict upon the town a spree of destruction. Power poles down, buildings at Storage Depot of Gainesville crushed. A joyride, they called it. I wonder what kind of joy they were referring to. The joy of millions in property damages, I guess. Before continuing with Jesse's escapade, let's take a short break. Aging, of course, is inevitable, and after 30, muscle loss speeds up, causing weight gain and, less graceful moments. If you don't want unexpected falls in your life, much like the unexpected visitor at Walmart, try this product. It's got ingredients like MyHMB, vitamin D3. You're not just combating muscle loss, you're enhancing endurance. Maybe with this, we can all endure Florida's wild news a little easier. Visit gainwithgary.com for a special discount. Be prepared so life's little surprises don't knock you over. Now back to the spectacle. Mr. Smith's joyride wasn't limited to the streets of Southwest Gainesville. No. He took his newly acquired yellow monster to Walmart's parking lot, demolished the loading dock wall, and driving straight into the building. Can you imagine the shock? Mothers with shopping carts, kids buying toys, employees on break, all witnessing this extraordinary sight. But that's not where the tale ends. A machete. Yes, a machete. After all, what's a wild Florida story with a little extra spice? After leaving his mechanical beast, Smith felt the need to further accessorize with a machete, turning his reckless driving spree into a potential horror scene. Thankfully, before any more havoc ensued, he was swiftly apprehended by our ever-vigilant law enforcement. While his motives remain a mystery, the damages he left in his wake are undeniably clear. As the dust settles and the tally of damages rises, we're left with a few pressing thoughts. What drives a man to commit such bizarre acts? How does a peaceful day of shopping turn into a scene of sheer chaos? What was he possibly thinking? Tonight we shared a story that undoubtedly will be retold at many dinner tables across the nation. But let's not just see it as another wild tale from the Sunshine State. Let's remember that behind the shock and awe, there's a deeper narrative. It's a story of responsibility, of the impact one individual's actions can have on a community. As we laugh or shake our heads at Mr. Smith's antics, let's also take a moment to consider the broader implications of unchecked impulses and the importance of community vigilance. For every American, this story serves as a reminder that in an instant, the mundane can turn to mayhem. So stay safe, America, and I hope that our next trip to Walmart is just about groceries.
America, we've got a border crisis spiraling out of control, and who's to blame? You guessed it, the Democrats. They're so caught up in their left-wing ideology, they're turning a blind eye to the real danger. But here's a ray of hope, the Secure the Border Act, introduced by Republicans. This is the most robust border security bill we've ever seen. It's not just about building that wall, it's about using cutting-edge technology to seal the deal. Yet out of 213 House Democrats, 211 voted against it. It's an absolute slap in the face to American safety. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is ringing the alarm, telling Democrats to wake up and face the crisis they've ignored for too long. So, Joe Biden, Senate Democrats, the ball is in your court. Time to step up and sign this life-saving bill into law. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. A global scare surrounding iPhone radiation levels. Gary, what's the buzz?
Tonight, a dramatic and unsettling revelation for millions of iPhone users worldwide. If you or someone you know owns an Apple iPhone 12, this might be the most crucial report you watch this year. French regulators have sounded the alarm, taking an unprecedented step against the tech titan Apple. What could push an entire country to cease sales of one of the most popular phones in the world? If one country is ringing alarm bells, how many more will follow? By the end of this special report, we'll dive deep into the concerns and the potential implications for users like you. And you don't want to miss our final thought, which could change the way you see and use your smartphone forever. Apple, a household name, a brand that's become synonymous with luxury, innovation, and reliability. But today that reputation's under severe scrutiny as shocking news emerges from France. Regulators in the country have ordered a halt to the sales of Apple's iPhone 12. The reason? A radiation scare that's sending shockwaves through the tech community and putting millions of users on edge. Reuters broke the news, revealing that France's radiation watchdog ANFR had found iPhone 12's specific absorption rate to exceed the legally permissible limit. For the non-tech savvy, the SAR is a measure of how much radio frequency energy is absorbed by the body when using a mobile phone. High SAR values can indicate potential health risks. French newspaper La Parisienne was the first to report this, and soon after, tweets from major outlets further solidified the concerns. They said, just in, France orders Apple iPhone 12 sales halted over excessive electromagnetic radiation levels. Another tweet from Wayne Tech posed the question many are now asking. This was iPhone 12. Imagine how much electromagnetic radiation is emitting from 13, 14, and soon to be released 15. But there is more to the story. Amidst this revelation is a crucial lesson to be learned for all of us. This unpredictable situation with iPhone 12 is reminiscent of the unpredictable crisis we face in life, be it natural, political, or economic. The world doesn't come with scripts or warnings, and that's why it's imperative to stay prepared. Just like how iPhone users were caught off guard by this radiation revelation, any one of us could be unprepared for life's unexpected twists and turns. A solution? My Patriot Supply, their 3-month emergency food kit, is now available at a rare 25% discount. It's a way to shield our families from unforeseen circumstances. Don't wait for another unexpected revelation to catch you off guard. Visit preparewithgary.com right now and avail their limited time offer. Now, it's essential to note that while above the European standard were identified during simulated scenarios, when the phone is held in the hand or kept in the pocket, Barron's expanded on this, stating that the labs found electromagnetic energy absorption at 5.74 watts per kilogram in such tests, while the European standard is 4.0 watts per kilogram. That's nearly 50% above the allowed limit. An image circulating online further highlights the technical details, displaying graphs and data about this radiation level. And now for those who've been following Apple, you remember they started selling the iPhone 12 lineup back in 2020. What's troubling that even then, Apple didn't publish the SAR radiation levels. One can't help but wonder why. Why withhold such crucial information from consumers who trust and rely on their products daily? Apple's response to this is eagerly awaited. Jean-Noël Barrot, while speaking to Reuters, mentioned that a software update might suffice to address these radiation issues. But with millions of units already in the hands of consumers, what about them? The ANFR has firmly stated, quote, concerning phones already sold, Apple must take corrective measures to bring the affected phones into compliance, otherwise Apple will have to recall them. The statement is a clear ultimatum to Apple. Address this promptly or face massive global recalls. But the bigger question is, how do we get here? For years, there's been an ongoing debate about the possible health effects of cell phone radiation. Several studies have tried to determine if there's any link between mobile phone use and health issues like cancer. While most of these studies have been inconclusive, it's undeniable that prolonged exposure to electromagnetic fields can have certain biological effects. And with the increasing reliance on mobile devices, especially during the pandemic, these concerns have only grown. The broader implication is more than just Apple or iPhone 12. If a device is popular and widely used as this is found to have such glaring issues, what about other devices? What about the iPhone 13, 14, and of course the 15 that's to be released? As technology advances become even more potent, the radiation that they emit could escalate. It's a domino effect that might just be starting with the iPhone 12. So what can consumers do? Well, for one, staying informed is key. As users and consumers, it's our right to know the products we're using daily could be affecting our health. Companies like Apple owe it to their customers to be transparent, especially when it concerns something as vital as health. It's more than just a piece of technology. It's a device millions hold dear, carrying it with them every day, every moment. Our smartphones are our lifeline, our connectors to the world. But when that very device could potentially pose a risk to our health, it's a wake-up call. This iPhone 12 saga isn't just a tech issue. It's a reminder that even the biggest brands, the most trusted names, can have flaws. And as consumers, it's our duty to be vigilant, to ask questions, and demand transparency. The health of the American people, our children, our families, is paramount. So today, it's an iPhone in France. Tomorrow, it could be something else, somewhere else. Let's hope the tech industry takes this as a signal to prioritize health and safety over profits and trends. For now, keep your phone at arm's length and stay safe. Angie, what's the latest from Mike Pompeo on Biden's China strategy?
President Biden's recent comments on China have former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo sounding the alarm. Speaking in Vietnam, Biden says he doesn't want to contain China. Pompeo calls this foolish and naive. Why? Because China is more than a competitor. It's a direct threat to American interests. China's been busy, folks, stealing intellectual property worth billions and running spy operations right under our noses, even buying up farmland near U.S. military bases. And let's not forget their role in the COVID-19 outbreak. This isn't a time for kid gloves. It's a time for a strong stance. Pompeo makes it clear the Chinese Communist Party's influence is seeping into every aspect of American life. So, Biden administration, it's high time you take this threat seriously and act decisively to protect America. Dive deeper, get the whole story by tapping the link in our bio. This is all the news I have for this evening. Now over to Gary with your comments from the comments section.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's special segment of N3 Primetime, aptly called the Comments Section. I'm here to share your voices because, let's face it, the mainstream media has conveniently forgotten that you exist. But not here, not on N3 Primetime. Our focus tonight comes from our recent video, Shocking Move by Trump Might Derail Judge's Strategy. Yes, a whirlwind of opinion y'all had on this one. First up, we have Jasper, who declares, Trump is our real president. Vote for Trump. Fight to the end. We, the people, will win. Well, you couldn't be more right, Jasper. Let's be clear. Trump may not be in the White House, but he's still very much the president of the hearts and minds of millions. This isn't just about blind loyalty. It's an acknowledgement that Trump embodies a fight against a system that's rigged against you, me, and against us. Next, I love chicken. I love chicken, writes, we want our President Trump back where he rightfully belongs. God bless all. Amen to that. In the bowels of D.C., where Bidenomics crashes against the walls of reality, President Trump's absence is felt more acutely than ever. You're spot on. He belongs where he can safeguard the American dream, not in the mudslinging circus courts. On to John Baker, who offers blessings upon President Trump and family. Shame to Biden and all his handlers. Oh, the handlers, John. The puppet masters pulling the strings behind the curtains, ruining the fabric of this great nation. It's not just shame, it's an affront to the American people. So you said it, and it's worth repeating. Now, our friend George, he suggests Trump should file criminal charges against this judge. Well, George, why not? When judges act as if they're the law unto themselves, when they veer from jurisprudence to activism, that's not justice. That's tyranny in a robe. Criminal charges might just be the wake-up call these judicial activists need. And finally, Reb Guthrie says, hit the nail on the head. She already has decided President Trump is guilty, and that should remove her. This whole crap should be dismissed. Exactly, Reb. Presumed guilty until proven innocent. What happened to the American legal principle of fairness? If the judge has preconceived notions, she's not a judge. She's a prosecutor in disguise. The case should be tossed into the legal wastebasket where it belongs. Ladies and gentlemen, your voices remind us that America's spirit, its grit, its fight, it's not dead. It's very much alive in each of you. So thank you for reminding us of what we're fighting for. And now, let's take a look at someone else. Welcome to another installment of Looking at You right here on N3 Primetime. I'm your host, and tonight we're zeroing in on someone who's not afraid to call it like he sees it. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. You see, folks, Ted Cruz has been a thorn in the side of the left for years, and for good reason. Recently, he stood up in the halls of power to call out what we've all been scratching our heads over, the shifting goalposts when it comes to the Biden family, and dare we say it, corruption. Now, let's be clear. We're not talking about minor stuff here. We're talking about serious allegations, okay? International dealings, business connections that smell fishy as well. The Biden family's apparent connections to foreign powers have been a hot topic, but the Democrats, well, they'd have you believe that there's no evidence. Watch.
Well, I think today was a very significant day. Today, the House of Representatives announced they're formally opening an impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. I think that's exactly the right thing for them to do. I've been calling on the House to do this for many months now. And you know, one of the interesting ways to assess what's going on is to look at the Biden White House's shifting stories. And you played quite a bit of this in your monologue. Started off with Joe Biden saying, I've never talked with my son about any of his overseas business dealings. Turns out that was a lie. Their next story was, I've never done business with my son and his overseas business dealings. Turns out that was a lie. You know, the latest talking points Democrats are trying to trot out in response to this impeachment inquiry is there is no direct evidence of Joe's involvement in the corruption. So they've pretty much given up on Hunter. Yeah, Hunter's corrupt as the day is long, but there's no direct evidence of Joe's involvement. That's what they're saying. Now, that's a flat-out lie, too, but let me break it down in two pieces. Number one, in a trial, in a legal proceeding, there are two types of evidence. There's direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. Now, what is circumstantial evidence? I'll give you an example. If you go to sleep tonight and you look outside the window when you go to sleep and the street is clean, and you wake up in the morning and you look out the window and there is snow covering the ground, that is circumstantial evidence that during the night it snowed. But you know what? It's pretty damn good evidence. Circumstantial evidence. People are convicted and sent to jail every day of the week based on circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is you draw inferences from the circumstances. That's compared to direct evidence. Direct evidence is testimony from someone who said, I saw it snowing last night. That's direct evidence. There's at least 2 instances of direct evidence of Joe's corruption. Number one, you played on this show, which is Joe Biden's admission in front of the Council on Foreign Relations that he held $1 billion of U.S. taxpayer loan guarantees hostage in order to force the firing of the Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating the Ukrainian oligarch. That is one of the critical elements of bribery, of the quid pro quo. Quid pro quo, as you know, is Latin for this, for that. The that Joe Biden has admitted to, that is direct evidence that he's admitted to. The only question is there the quid? Is there the $5 to $10 million of payments? Now, on that, there is circumstantial evidence. There are the $20 million plus of payments to the Biden family. And there is also the consistent pattern of obstruction and covering it up, which in any court of law you would draw a negative inference from.
No evidence, they say. But Cruz, in his signature style, made it plain. That's nonsense. He's shown how the Democrats keep moving the goalposts. First, they say there's nothing to see here. Then, when evidence starts piling up, they change the tune. Oh, that's just normal business, they say. Really? If it's so normal, why not let everyone take a good, hard look at it? You see, it's classic misdirection. It's like a magician who tells you to keep your eye on one hand while the other is reaching into his pocket for a rabbit. Cruz won't let them get away with that sleight of hand. He's saying, let's have this investigation. Let's put the cards on the table. If there's nothing to hide, then there should be nothing to fear, right? But why does this matter? Because you deserve to know the truth. Your government isn't some closed-door club. It's supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. When politicians act like they're above the law or think they can just distract us and we'll forget about it, they're betraying your trust. Senator Cruz, for all the heat he takes, is reminding us of this simple principle: accountability. If those in power can't be held accountable, what's to stop them from acting against your interests behind a smokescreen of political maneuvering? So tonight, we salute Senator Ted Cruz for calling out the ever-changing narrative and demanding transparency. That's not just good politics, it's good for America, and that's why we're looking at you, Ted Cruz. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the final word. Tonight, we've navigated a maze of stories, each significant in its own right, but collectively painting a portrait of a nation at a crossroads. Let's be clear, whether it's Bidenomics, which to 60% of you doesn't appear to be the rose garden in the administration that it claims to be, or sudden yet inane war McDonald's has declared on your freedom to fizz, we're seeing a staggering disconnect between the corridors of power and the reality on Main Street. We talked about Philadelphia, a city steeped in the lore of American liberty, that it's almost cruel to see it ensnarled in a drug crisis of nightmarish proportions. And speaking of nightmares, the Democrats' disregard for border security is like playing Russian roulette with the safety of American citizens. And Mike Pompeo warns us that China isn't just a competitor, it's a looming shadow threatening to snuff out the American dream. And speaking of dreams, let's not forget about the vulnerabilities in our digital world that can turn our modern conveniences into catastrophic calamities like the cyber attack on MGM Resorts. America, these stories matter. They're not just headlines, they're warning signs, blinking red, signaling that it's time to question, to debate, and to demand better from those who lead us, and perhaps to lead ourselves when they won't. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's our whirlwind tour of America's pressing issues for tonight. A heartfelt thank you to Angie for her invaluable news briefs, and to each one of you for participating so actively in the live chat. Special thanks to all of our moderators. And of course, your insights and perspectives make this show a two-way street, and for that we're grateful. And speaking of pressing issues, just as inflation is threatening to turn Bidenomics into nothing more than a deflated balloon. The U.S. dollar has lost 85% of its value since detaching from gold in the 1970s. It's like a cyber attack on your wallet's stability. But there's a firewall, gold. Noble Gold Investments offers you a financial refuge, much like a fortified border for your financial security. Invest today and secure a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin like the one I'm holding right here. Visit nextnewsgold.com or call 877-646-5347. And if you're not investing, call them right now and say, I just watched N3 Primetime. Gary was spot on tonight. Thank you for sponsoring his program. Will you do that for me? Noble Gold. They are the gold standard that I personally trust. So as we close the curtain on another episode of N3 Primetime, let's not forget the power to change, the power to question, and to lead. It rests with you. You're not just the audience. You're the key to making America great again. If you found value in tonight's show, spread the word. Share the link with your friends and family. Post it to social media. And of course, send it out to even the foes who need a wake-up call. I'm Gary Franchi reminding you, I'm not here to create followers. I'm here to cultivate leaders among the people. Good night, America, and stay engaged. And remember, never surrender.